I'm using the word hoppering now, which I have not used earlier. And this hoppering is also the very common word in Six Sigma. The hoppering is nothing but filtering. For filtering the causes also they use the word hoppering. We will also see how value stream mapping relates to other mapping tools as cross-functional mapping. I've deliberately put this because one of you asked the difference between value stream mapping, cross-functional mapping, and process flow diagrams. As I shared before, all maps are useful. All maps are useful. But the outcome, the decision that you want to make, based on the decision that you want to make, you choose a map. If you see in my earlier sessions, I said, information is for decision making. Information is for decision making. Correct and complete information and the timely information, okay, will help you take the correct decision and timely decision. And if you want to take a decision fast on a particular, to understand a particular issue, or so what you do is you basically try to see what type of representation that you put in so that you can understand it fast. If you want to go from one destination to the other destination, say from your place to a place which is 5 kilometers away, which map do you use? So we immediately switch on the Google map and start using that, right? So that is the best form of representation for us to take a decision on what route to take so that we can reach the destination. Similarly, process flow diagram helps us to understand the high-level process in an operations, in any business operation. Like for example, if it is this adhesive manufacturing, it will be like chemical compounding, adhesive formulation, then coating, then slitting, then packing. This is a high-level process flow diagram. If process flow diagram is clear, this is a simple high-level process flow diagram. Generally, high-level process flow diagram consists of 5 to 7 steps to get an overall clarity on the process. 5 to 7 steps is a thumb rule to get an overall understanding of the main operations in the process. But the decision that we want, the information that we want, and the decision we want to take it is to comprehend the high-level processes involved. Now, process flow activity mapping. Once we write the overall process flow, each process we go inside activities. The information that we want is to find out what is a value-adding activity, non-value-adding activity, or identifying so much of 8 ways. And the decision we will take is what to eliminate, what to combine, what to reduce, what to rearrange, what to simplify. So that will consist of all the activities in the process. So the expansion of, like, in computers, you have high-level process, you click a plus button and again, a list of things will come inside that, inside, like nesting, right? So inside all the process comes the activities, and this is called process flow activity diagram or process flow activity mapping, PFAD or PFA. So the expansion of process flow diagram or process flow map is process flow activity map. If PFAM is clear, now let me come to the cross-functional mapping. Cross-functional mapping is also called CFM or swim lane map. What is a swim lane map? And what is the objective of a swim lane map? Typically, in any sales to order to dispatch, typically, if you want to list all the supporting activities also, to understand the complete workflow, like in the swimming pool, you have the lanes, right? Imagine a swimming pool where there are different lanes. And in every lane, one swimmer will swim. Or If it is a team, that team will swim in that lane. Similarly, when it is order to dispatch, for example, where is the starting point? Which department is the starting point for the order? Sales. Okay, let's take sales. So the sales will have a set of, sales and marketing will have a set of activities. After that, which lane will it go to? Which lane means which department will it go to after sales and marketing? Just anybody can type, okay? It can, production planning, okay? That's what we see. It goes to planning. So planning does something, and planning interacts and gets information from various places. Like they interact with the stores, they interact with production, they interact with purchase. And the planning gives some information to purchase the material. Planning gives some information to production to produce the material. Planning gives some information to sales to go back to the customer and tell how much they'll have to sell. So there is a lot of cross-functional interactions that is happening, cross-functional activities, exchanges, engagements that are happening. Now, what happens is, in each of these lanes, information flows across the departments. And there are various symbols used in that. And we all know typical process flow diagram symbols, like a diamond for decision making, like yes or no, a start symbol, a rectangular box for information, and so on and so forth, so that pictorially you know a few information there. What all do you know? You will know what all the functions that are involved: sales function, marketing function, purchase function, planning function, production function, HR function, finance function, etc., etc. And now all the information, all the functions together are responsible for meeting the customer requirement. Now, this is easier. The important takeaway from a cross-functional mapping or a swim lane map is, as consultants, what you'll have to look for is when the information is moving from one function to the other, we need to cross those intersection points, circle those intersection points. And you need to actually, what I do is, I see how many times it is crossing different functions, under what conditions. And this is called handoffs. Handoff means it is going from one function to the other function. And please take notes, handoff is a weak link in any process. Handoffs are the weak link in the process. So the reason as consultants or as experts that we see is we keep an eagle eye watch on where the handoffs are happening. It is weak link in the context that the ball is now in your court. So they will do their information, give it. And when they are asked for something, they will say, no, I have done my job. I have given to other department. And this is, if the handoff is very weak, it means between the functions or between the departments are barriers. They have built a wall, like Great Wall of China, the Great Barriers. It's called silos. They work as islands. Every department works as a separate island. Okay, so this is breaking down of all these barriers is what is the, so in a transactional value stream mapping, we will see these handoffs and we will see the percentage correct and completeness. So this is cross-functional mapping. If cross-functional mapping or swim lane SLM is clear. So we have spoken about process flow diagram. We have expanded the process flow diagram by diving deep into the activities inside of each and every process. And we said it is process flow activity diagram. And these process flow activities, if it is cross-functionally represented, it is called cross-functional mapping. If functions are also represented, it's called cross-functional mapping. Now, there is also something called a SIPOC diagram. SIPOC diagram only has high-level process. The first process flow diagram I said, and each of them has inputs and outputs. And each inputs, it represents the suppliers. Each outputs, it represents the customers. SIPOCs are generally used to get overall view of the project. If we do a Six Sigma project, you get a feel of who are all the stakeholders inside the process. The SIPOC helps in that. SIPOC. supplier, inputs, process. That is also a sort of diagram, type of diagram. So we've spoken about process flow diagram. We've spoken about process flow activity mapping. We've spoken about cross-functional mapping or swim lane mapping. And we've spoken about SIPO diagram. Now value stream mapping. Now value stream mapping is very unique in the sense that it has three components organized in such a way that it gives the starting point of a value stream mapping is a high leverage product family. We start with the high leverage product family. What is high leverage product family? As we saw in the product process matrix, we see product on one side and processes on other side. And we try to identify what are the product and process, high value, high quantity and all that, and try to find out. So in value stream mapping, it is very peculiar. First, the objective is to find out, to do strategic improvements in the organization. And what is that strategic improvement? We will have to find out the high level objectives of the organization, the strategic objective of the organization, and we need to see which set of value stream, which means the high level, the family A that we called in product process matrix, and then have cross-functional team with subject matter experts go through the Gemba walk and identify certain, gather some information to ensure that we have the process flow, the material flow, the timelines, the information flow, and then the suppliers and customers. And we primarily said it is divided into three components. So the objective of it is to find out, to have the Kaizen, to have consent of the entire team to see where the improvements can be done, and then work out a roadmap for these improvements, which we call VSIP, Value Stream Improvement Plan, so that we also write the future state map, and then we have the improvement plan that takes us from the current state map to the future state map. If VSM is clear, type. So we will also give a transactional and operational VSM. We will create a current VSM. We'll identify Kaizen burst and explain the process to create the future map. Okay. And somewhere they've asked turtle map. Yeah, I have seen turtle maps. That is also a sort of, they'll put a turtle, there'll be an input, there'll be an output, and then they will identify the input resources and output resources. But I have not used that map much. Okay. So basically input requirements and output requirements are actually captured using that, but I have not used the turtle map. Okay, any history when the VSM started? Okay, for those who wanted to know the history of VSM, I will share, just remind me to share I think a book from Toyota, which was printed in 1972. I had an opportunity to, so somewhere, from somewhere I got a copy of it. From Toyota itself, they have taken a picture and sent it to me. It came through somewhere. And they were all called material and information flow maps. Material and information flow maps. They were not called value stream map. The word Toyota production system was, changed the name as lean by Westerners. Jim Mack and Daniel Jones, and the material and information flow maps, what they were used to do was changed as, in my reading what I've done, they've changed that as value stream map. Okay, and material and information flow diagram did not have the timeline, but in learning to see book, they have put the timeline and they've started explaining. Okay, so if I find, if I get access to that old copy, I will share with you. I have gone through that book also, it's very interesting. It's a very, I think, 70 or 80 page book, Material Information Flow Diagram of Toyota.